All right, welcome back to Community Culture Conversation. We are here at Beat the Daily Grind in Atlantic City. We are here with visual artist and my friend Verneen Cream. I've known her for the better part of maybe 5-6 years. I know it's been longer than that. I'm trying to seem like I'm not so old.
I was young.
But I didn't. But I didn't know she was a visual artist until maybe. I know what happened. I tell you exactly what happened. She did a paint and sip, and I saw so many beautiful women come out to her paint and sip. I said, "Look, if you ever need a DJ, give me a call." And since that time, I've been including her as much as possible in different events and things that I do. But could you take a moment to introduce yourself as a visual artist, please?
Okay. So my name is Verneen Cream. I'm actually back now residing in New Jersey. And as a visual artist, I've been doing that since I was about 4 years old. My grandmother was an artist, so I've had a paintbrush since 4, I should say. I really got back involved in it in 2016. Actually known more as a mixed media artist, learning all the rules and being able to break them. So that's been like my journey. I'm considered to be an international artist. I have art all over the world. I've done over 6,000 pieces, closer down to about 6,500. So that's pretty much it for me.
I asked you here to talk about specifically about the Butterfly Project, but as an artist, what does being able to take an idea from a page or a picture or your mind onto a canvas, what does that mean to you? How important is that to you? What's the value in that?
For me, it's a little different than being able to visually take something. A lot of what I do actually comes to me in dreams. And I'll get the ending of it and have to figure out how to get to go through the beginning, the steps and everything to get the outcome that I actually dream about. So I do see things that I'm influenced by or that I like and will incorporate. But for me, most things come through dreams.
So can you tell us about a dream that turned into a painting?
The one I actually have that's next to me is one of those dreams. We actually had an encounter with my daughter, myself, and my son with a butterfly. And with that butterfly, it kind of lingered around until she was with us. It was just my son and I at first. And with that encounter, it was just a moment in time to be able to talk about it, what had happened, what was going on. And I utilized that particular butterfly because it had a broken wing. And part of that was with my daughter was even with a broken wing, you could still fly. So for me to actually dream about it, it put it in perspective that I would like to be able to offer the encouragement now, being a mother who's lost a daughter, and utilizes art as therapy to get through it and being coping skills to be able to share with other people. This picture came to me to be able to do the same thing, to paint and then also to be able to share it. And with it, it has a write-up that says I can. Like you can make it through any obstacle that's in front of you no matter what.
If you are just tuning in on the radio, we're talking to artist Verneen Cream about her life as a visual artist, and also we want to talk to her about something that she has called the Butterfly Project. And we're here at Beat the Daily Grind Cafe in Atlantic City. If you are listening on radio, this will also be available to watch, so you'll be able to see her work at AtlanticCityFocus.com. Also, we want to let you know that I picked up a I shouldn't say picked up, but I volunteered to curate some art at the Family Success Center in Pleasantville, and I reached out to Verneen because I know she had the Butterfly Project, and I asked her if she would contribute some art. She quite pleasantly said, "I just do the whole, I just do the whole center," and so she took on the whole project, and I'm getting a lot of credit, but she did a lot of the work, and I do appreciate that. So we just wanted to, to give the listeners and the onlookers that information. But let's talk about the Butterfly Project and how that relates to your daughter for people who may not know.
The Butterfly Project, for me, stemmed from, like I said, a butterfly encounter, but also the loss of my daughter, and then the journey for me to live again, and me utilizing art as the stem for that. Being able to find coping skills utilizing art, which gave me a nonverbal way to be able to communicate how I was feeling, what I was thinking, and also one of the things that's in the workbook that I'm working on is being able to write letters to your loved ones. So part of the Butterfly Project journey for me is like I'm leaving little love notes all over, silently and behind the scene. It's still like a mental check-in for everybody else, but for me, it's giving me the opportunity to still leave little pieces of her behind.
How has your project been received by the general masses?
The project for me started in Georgia, and I think that it was probably a safe haven for me. Me moving to Georgia pretty much sight unseen was for me to be able to jumpstart or restart my life and the journey of the loss. And that came from a dream, waking up one day that I wanted to do the Butterfly Project or create this thing called the Butterfly Project. Part of it came from a certification for cognitive behavior, learning how to utilize art and public spaces using bright colors to be able to communicate to people from a young age all the way to adults, including those with special needs. So that's what I kind of started the project with. I then created some freestanding wood butterflies. The first thing I did was a mural. And the murals that I do are really non-traditional. It's not the ones you normally see. They're pretty much interactive to be able to want you to stop, to do that mental check-in, to be present in the moment, and to take selfies within the mural. And so that was the first piece of the project, was a mural that I did downtown Fort Valley, Georgia. Then the freestanding butterflies came in, and I presented it again to Fort Valley, and that county ended up picking up the project, and they would say it's like the first ones to adopt the project. They have 30 freestanding butterflies throughout their community and their city parks and their county parks that they took on, and they paid for and did everything, and I personally individually painted everything. Myself and two mentees at the time that I had on the side of me. And so in Georgia, it was something that was accepted. It was something that people found a need for, because mental health as well as the suicide numbers are rising daily. So it was something that they incorporated, into their into everything that was going on. They would invite me out to talk, whether it was the schools, whether it was something for the city or the community. I was pretty much involved in that. Trying to come back home and rebuild that. I always say it's harder to do things home than it is in a city that you don't know no one. Currently right now, Pleasantville, which is our home city, and that's where my daughter was from. We now have 6 butterflies, which are at Leeds Avenue, Park Avenue, as well as Woodland Avenue. It's a smaller and a large. Those are freestanding butterflies to be able to stop and take photos. And then also the mural that we have on Washington Avenue is also another moment in time. But you can learn more, find out more, through the website, social media platforms. But the city of Pleasantville has shown their support all the way from the beginning.
One thing you talked about is the murals, not the murals, the butterflies being interactive. And I've seen one by a park in Pleasantville. And I think what the butterflies do, because they're so powerful, they kind of force people to stop the hustle and bustle and say, "Ooh, what is that?" Was that your goal? And can you talk to us about the importance of people taking, because we always talk about stopping and smelling the roses, but we really don't do that.
One of the things that I did different with these butterflies than I did before was I actually put one of the yard signs in front of it with a QR code. And when I did that, there was a difference I can't say it was a difference because I didn't have nothing to go off of. But when I did it for the ones in Pleasantville, within a 24-hour period, there were over 300 visitors to the site to learn more about it. And that way, I realized is people can learn more about why they're there and to see what it means. We don't stop to check in for anything. So me pushing that and trying to put that out there, like we should always take a moment to stop. It doesn't necessarily have to be at a butterfly, but to be able to check in and feel where you are, because we tend to get up and everything is routine. And sometimes life will kick in and something happens majorly and throw you all the way off. And if you drive by and see a beautiful butterfly that catches your eye, for me it's like, well, that's your moment, whether you're in the car to stop and just regroup, or you get out and take a second to let it all go and then jumpstart from that point from there.
We all have something that we struggle with. Shortly before you went through what you went through with your daughter, and I even struggle on how to bring it up and articulate it because I don't want to say anything that's offensive. But shortly before you went through what you went through, I lost my father. Two totally different things, indeed. But I've talked about this on the radio before. Probably the most hurtful thing that I personally have ever been through, and I'm coming to a point. I promise you, as the oldest sibling in my family, part of that struggle was I was supposed to figure out something different. I wasn't supposed to be put into this situation where now I'm helpless and my father's gone and I can't do anything about it. I'm guessing that as a mother, you may have had a similar feeling. And again, I don't profess to know how you feel. And no, because I hate it when people say, I know how you feel. Like you don't know how. You might have been through what I've been through, but you don't know how I feel. So that being the case, as you are getting to what I refer to as the new normal, what would be your advice to someone who is struggling with a loss and they're trying to figure out how to accept it because you don't have any choice?
I think,
that was a lot.
yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna do it backwards. For me was, for one, I didn't even know that the feelings I was having was normal, because you don't really know what the steps of grief is. So we tend to think that, us being angry all the time is not something we're supposed to feel. You know what I'm saying? Feeling it's just understanding certain steps to it by educating yourself and what grief looks like, finding whether it's an individual or a group to become a part of that. For me, was finding compassionate friends. Those are for parents who have lost children. And when I walked in a room, there were 100 other parents. It was more women and mothers who had lost their children, where now I felt like we all had something in common. You know what I'm saying? So it was first putting myself in a position, well, somebody else put me there, because I didn't think I had a problem until I realized like I did. And then put me in that space to be able to realize that I wasn't alone. I'm not the only person. And if they can do it, I can do it. But I think for me, the piece that I always share was in that group, I came across an older gentleman who was standing next to me. And every time were in group to share, he would cry about his daughter as if it was like recent. And he had never really talked about the dates or anything. So finally, after one of the group sessions, I had asked him, like, when did your daughter pass? And he said 1978. And that was the year I was born. And at that time for me, it was like, so you're telling me for 44 years at that moment, he had been grieving like it was yesterday. So for me, it was like a light switch went off, and it was like, this is something that is going to be an everyday struggle. And so I had to face my own reality. And then on the other side of that, I had a doctor, because I would constantly be in the hospital. I would end up being sick. I didn't feel well all the time. And I ended up in front of a doctor who took off his jacket and sat right in front of me and was like, have you ever heard of a broken heart syndrome? And I was like, yeah, kind of, sort of. He's like, well, it's a real thing. And if you don't learn how to live with your grief, you're going to die. And so that was like reminder number 2, like, this is really a self journey. And it's not for others to help me get through it. I have to find some kind of way to continue to live with it. Because note that I wanted to die. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be in a space that I shouldn't have lost a daughter before I lost my own life. You know what I'm saying? So to have that and to walk around with that you still have to cope, it's really a difficult space to be in, and every day it really does feel like yesterday. So it's really no way that goes away, and you're still surrounded by so many triggers that reminds you, or what. I just had a major breakdown 2 days ago. July 21st, she passed away, and I kind of been holding it in, and he walked into me breaking totally down. And I haven't had one of those moments in about 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So it comes and goes when it does, but there's no real outline for it. It's just making sure you have enough tools in your pocket that when you see yourself slipping, you can recognize it and start to get out of those spaces. You know what I mean? So it's really keeping yourself equipped with whatever you need to get you through, because it's a really dark space to be in, and nobody's coming to save you. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to have your own life jacket.
Wow, that was phenomenal. Goodness, if you're just tuning in, we're here with Verneen Cream discussing the Butterfly Project. You brought a piece with you. Could you show us that and tell us a little bit about the piece? I'll hold the microphone as you speak.
So this piece is actually the actual butterfly that I actually had in my hand, and I transferred it to my daughter's finger in the conversation of, even with a broken wing, you could still fly. So as you can see in the picture, this is actually a swallowtail butterfly, and it should have the tails that are hanging, but it's very broken, it's very torn off, or whatever its life struggle has been. But it's just a reminder that even with the broken wing, no matter what you're going through, you can still fly. The original piece to this is actually a 4-foot painting, acrylic painting, and this is the first picture I've ever made a print of out of everything that I've done. So that was, this is actually my physical hand holding that butterfly, which I have a portrait of. And it's just to me, it's hope on a print or on a canvas.
All right, now on August, I want to make sure I get the right date because I'm great at fouling up dates. On August 23rd, you are having, or we are actually hosting I will be there. We are hosting a reception for your art that's on display at the Pleasantville Family Success Center. Starts at 11 and 12. 11 and 12. We'll get it to you. But can you talk a little bit about the paintings that you have in the center and the reception?
So the pieces that are actually there, it's more of an eclectic palette. It's not one particular style of artwork is there. I wanted to be able to share a multitude of what it is that I can actually do. So you have pieces that are mixed media, you have acrylic pieces, you have, everything that's there makes you want to touch it. I have very bright colors, very vibrant situations. There are some pieces that are there that are butterflies. And when it comes to any butterfly painting, whether it's a print, it allows me, the money from those pictures actually go back 100% into the project and allows me to do community projects, being able to volunteer my time like I have with them, the community center, to say, whenever you guys are ready, we can do that butterfly, mural free of charge. And that allows me to be able to take the monies from all butterfly pictures or whatever I do with butterflies to be able to offer to the community free things, because I want to continue to make people aware, because there's so many people that deal with mental health and suicide awareness that needs to be spread. So there's twofold there. You'll get an opportunity to learn more about the Butterfly Project, and also you get to see who I am as a visual artist and how I share my pieces with the world.
She is Verneen Cream. And is there anything else that you'd like to add before I let you go?
No, not really. I don't have anything. Where you can find me at, everything for my art is officially Inside Out, and that's on all social media platforms. And when it comes to the Butterfly Project on my website, it's still officially Inside Out, but it's /Butterfly Project to take you directly to it versus having to go through the website through each piece. But I would say take a moment, learn about the project, see how you can, sponsor butterflies or anything for Pleasantville or whatever city that you're in, looking to expand that as far as I possibly can. The sky's the limit. I want to get it to a place where people can actually participate, because the butterflies that we have are registered. They are put inside of our book. They are guides. And in the book that I have with it is also provide services for mental health and suicide awareness wherever the project has landed. So you'll get to find out more about that at the center as well.
Everybody, her name is Verneen Cream, and I thank you for taking time to be with us today.